Good morning and welcome to Litera TV's Legal Tech in 30. I'm your host, Nick Rishwain, and my guest today is Ivy Gray. Ivy, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing really well, at least now that I get to spend my early morning with you. So that helps. Ivy, do you have with this time? So just a little backstory here. Ivy, I am the person who really likes all the new and shiny things. That's my jam. And Ivy kind of has this, let's use the tools you already have. So she's a good balance for me. And so today, what I said, she's written extensively on lawyers using Microsoft Word and PDF and things that they already have access to and using it, actualizing their potential, essentially, of those tools you already have. So that's why I asked Ivy to join and give us a little rundown of some of those uses of Microsoft Word that maybe you're not using to its fullest potential. Ivy, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me here. You are one of the few reasons I will get up this early.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, Ivy, do you have can you share a screen so that we can go through and begin a little bit of lawyers using Microsoft Word?
Sure. Let's do that. Would you like to be in slideshow presentation, or is this fine so that you can see everything and I can skip around?
Yeah,
I ask questions, or
leave it that
what would
way.
you like, Nick?
I would leave it the way it is because it feels like we're getting the full. I don't want our video feeds overlapping any of the slides. I think that would probably be best.
Okay, great.
And you feel free
to. So this, I prefer your Q&A. Hit me, Nick.
So that's good. Okay, so you have been a big believer in there's so many uses for Microsoft Word that lawyers don't know, that even I don't know. Oftentimes I'll go back when I'm actually using Word, which is rarely these days, and I'll read one of your articles because I don't know how to do something, and so I'll look for some of the content that you've made on a topic. And my favorite, of course, because you kind of opened my eyes to this, and now every time I see a massive news story about it, is the redaction issue, where what an attorney chooses to do is just highlight in black, which can then easily be undone by receiving party or opposing party. So I know I jumped right to the end with that, but you were prepared. And it's my favorite because we've seen some really high-end stories on this, or high-profile, I should say, stories about this, where this was a major disaster.
Yes, one of the most recent ones is Paul Manafort's lawyers basically highlighting things in black and thinking that because they couldn't see it, then no one could see it. And really all you have to do is highlight that text and paste it into another document, just paste plain, and it will reveal everything. So for me, that's one of those things where I know that it's an issue because it comes from a misunderstanding of how Microsoft Word works and what its capabilities are. And a lot of people would say, oh, well, this is a Model Rule 1.1 issue about technology competence. And yes, that's true. But if your state hasn't adopted that, then this is a good old Model Rule 1.6 client confidentiality issue. So it's really important to know what Word actually does and what Word doesn't do. Actually, on that same topic of what does Word do is clearing document properties. This is another Model Rule 1.6 confidentiality issue. And so if you are sending documents outside of your firm, you should clear metadata, which is mostly your document properties, before sending it over. Your metadata can show a lot of things that you didn't realize were here. So it can give you your author, how much time was spent editing things, the file path, etc. And one of the things that most people don't think about with file paths is that you can really see if, say, Big Bad Buyer Corp had 72 settlement files, and this is personal injury settlement number 704, 72, or whatever. And that shows up when you are looking at the file path, then that can tip people off that this really is part of a pattern of abusive behavior or negligence. And that can change the course of your case. So clearing your document properties can hide some of that. It will also help you to avoid accidentally sending off some of your commentary or track changes to opposing counsel. Actually, somebody on Twitter just the other day said that they accidentally sent off a document with all of their internal comments still in it, and a metadata filter on your email where it actually scrubs and catches your documents on the way out would probably be the best way to do that. If
And,
not, then you just check it out here.
and Ivy, would clearing my document properties, which I don't do because I'm not in high level litigation. Most of ours is purely for content creation, most of our use. So I don't have a need for this normally. But in clearing document properties, is that akin to clearing my caching cookies on my browser? Is it?
It's similar, and it's about as easy. So if you go to File, it will reveal this blue panel right here. Click on Info and then Inspect a Document, and select all of these things, and that will allow you to clear your history. I can zoom in a bit so you can see it.
Sure.
So did that help?
Yeah, that does. And if it's just as easy, it's just a matter of learning which commands you have to go through in order to do this. And I think that's important.
Absolutely. And I believe Big Hand actually has a metadata assistant that is where you can use it as an add-in to your email, and it will clear your properties on the way out if you're sending it to external source. Perfected also has a final check that I built in at the end where it checks for little things like comments left in text and 2 spaces after a period versus 1, but it will also remind you to check your document properties, and you can clear them with one button, with one click.
And you mentioned in clearing document properties, you actually mentioned there is an add-in or something like that, which will remove metadata for you.
Yes, it's called Metadata Assistant, and I believe it's by Big Hand through their acquisition of the Payne Group.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And so this is clearly important for tech competence as well as protecting client information. What is another kind of top item you see that lawyers aren't doing or should be doing that they just don't know the commands?
Sure. So there are 4 free essential alterations that I tell everyone to make. And this is pretty simple. It's a set it and forget it sort of thing. So one of them is to show readability statistics, and it will pop up right after you run your spell check. So that's one quick change. Once you enable that, it runs forever. Another one is to uncheck the box that says ignore words in uppercase. And that's one of those where if you are writing a pleading document and you have the court name and all sorts of things in all caps, you can incredibly embarrass yourself by writing pubic instead of public, or yeah, or courts or cuts or something. You're going to there are a lot of ways to mess that up, and words in all caps are super hard to really see where the errors are. So you should tell Microsoft Word to actually check words in all caps. Another one is custom dictionaries. You can add words to your custom dictionary so that it doesn't get flagged. A lot of lawyers tell me that they turn off spell check because all of the red squigglies get on their nerves. You can fix that, and instead of taking the nuclear approach, you can actually add your legal terms. And a cool thing that you can do is you export your dictionary to in Microsoft Word, and you can share it with other people at your firm. It is not super easy, but you can get your knowledge management and IT people can do that for you. And finally, you can. I'm sorry, Nick.
And on that one, and apologies everyone, we have a little delay, so I try and eke in a little something till Ivy catches that, and then that's why you'll see some short pauses or pregnant pauses here. But on that custom dictionary is hugely important, right? Because we have, much like the medical community has these words that when you write them, they would be decidedly misspelled according to Microsoft Word. Well, with legal jargon, very much the same. So if you add one of these words to that custom dictionary, then you're not getting caught for it being misspelled every time you write it.
Correct.
Okay.
And the final thing is to, I like to say autocorrect on crack. So if there's something that you type on a regular basis, you can hack autocorrect to fill that out for you. So if your firm name is Ivy Gray and Nick Rishwain, we can just type in IGNR and that can fill out the entire the firm name. So every time I type that, it does that. If you use those letters in that combination on a regular basis for other things, then you might want to add some other characters so that autocorrect knows that it's specifically this use. But I do this for anything that I'm inserting a lot. And I started doing it in law school, in civil procedure particularly. So every time I had a section number, I didn't want to have to find the insert section button and then insert the section symbol. So for me, I type parentheses, S parentheses, and that will automatically autocorrect to a section symbol. So I never have to think about it again. In fact, I had to, when I got a new computer, I had to go back and recreate all of those things because my old computer got wiped and I couldn't just transfer the stuff. But it will save you a ton of time. There's another tool that can do that. It's called Text Expander. It's super inexpensive, and it will allow you to use that information from many different sources and across many different sources. But if you're just working in the Microsoft ecosystem, then autocorrect will do it for you.
I've heard good things about Text Expander, and I didn't realize of this autocorrect shortcut usage, which has got, and if you're a hunt and pecker, this has got to be hugely helpful for those who, okay, I got to type this out again. And I hope we don't have that many hunt and peckers around, but I know that they still exist.
Yep. So other ones, you can automatically read text aloud. So I like that for proofreading. It will find errors really quickly because that robotic automated voice will make sure that everything sounds strange and unfamiliar. Another one is if you are working with somebody and they just started typing in the document and did not turn on track changes, you can actually uncover what they've done by comparing documents. And that's pretty simple in the ribbon. So if you're one of those people who still goes, well, what about WordPerfect? Here's your answer. This is the equivalent of reveal codes. By clicking on this paragraph symbol, it will actually show you all of the formatting marks. Another one that's super important is cross-references. And if you're writing a contract, this one will come up on a regular basis. And you number everything in your contract, you insert cross references, and then if you move a paragraph or delete it, it will automatically redo all of the numbering and keep those things together. So instead of having an associate go through and spend 8 hours looking for everywhere that referenced paragraph 16b and changing it, you can do that automatically with cross references. It will be more accurate, it'll save you time, and the clients won't be angry about that bill.
So this is better than Control F or doing a find and then typing in 16b and going through all of those.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because it will happen automatically.
Gotcha.
So now for the fun stuff. These are the things that I really like. So one of the things is that you can customize your ribbon and your toolbar. So if there are add-ins or other things that you use on a regular basis, you can get to those things quickly. So this right here is the quick access toolbar. I like to put WordRake on the quick access toolbar so that I don't have to go to another tab. I can just rake my document right there. And then I also like to make a super tab of all of my editing add-ins and tools together. So I actually, oops. So I actually added track changes to my tab, and this is how you can do it. Nick, we can post we can post the slides on Twitter. That way
Yeah.
people can get to these things again. But anyway, so this is the quick way to do it. Once you set it, it's done. You don't have to do it again. But I love it, and it makes Microsoft Word my own.
And that's really just for your own workflow, right? So use those, add those commands that improve your personal workflow.
Exactly. So let's see. Another one is hacking, find, and replace. This is one of my favorite things to do because I remember the days where this was a lot harder. So you really need to get to know the find and replace box. And a lot of people don't realize that there's more beyond this. They just see this section here with the find and replace. But if you expand and you click the more button, you will get to all of these other tools. So you can replace formatting, you can replace special characters, etc. So for instance, if you copied something from a PDF or from a site and it came out really weird with extra line breaks and spacing, you can actually use the special characters to find and delete all of those things. So one of the quick ones is that you can replace double spaces with single spaces. So just enter a period followed by 2 spaces and then a period followed by 1 space. Don't put anything else in there because whatever you put in here will change.
So
if you are
as an example on that one, I've got a new keyboard at the office, and for whatever reason, the way that I type, I seem to hit this second period. It's either the button may just be light, or it's the way I type, and it adds the second period. So what I could do is I could go back and check for double periods pretty easily and remove that second.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes. If you are one of those people who collects your citations directly from Lexis or Westlaw or Fastcase or anything, you will automatically get your cases underlined, and that is not the preferred method. The preferred method is actually to use italics. So you can use find and replace to change everything that was underlined to italics. And I think that's pretty cool because I wasted a lot of time doing that as a junior associate.
Right. Yeah, that one in the section symbol, right? I used to go,
yep.
Okay, highlight it, hit italics. Okay, go back, insert section, which is really time consuming. Insert the section symbol. Those two alone are massively time consuming.
Absolutely. We also, things have changed. So another one that I like to do is look for gendered language and change it to gender neutral language. And you can use that using the match suffix feature. So search for anything with man and change it to person. Do not replace all if you're doing this. You could get some really weird things at the end that you didn't really mean to change.
Right.
So I would go one by one, look at it and make a decision. Here's one that is a big deal. You can use autocorrect, or not autocorrect, but you can use find and replace to actually make legalese consistent. So if you sometimes write including but not limited to, and sometimes you have a comma and an extra space, and sometimes you don't, that can actually be read to mean different things. And you can search for all of those things. Of course, it's one phrase at a time, but you can still search for those different types of punctuation and white space characters and make all of those things consistent in your document by using this box right here, which tells Microsoft Word to ignore punctuation characters and white space and just search for everything that matches here. So that'll save you a ton of time.
Excellent. And there's a reason we were discussing last night in preparations for this. There's a reason to save that time, right? Because you can't bill for the editing time.
Exactly. Well, you can't bill for that type of editing time.
Right.
So under Lola versus Skadden, anything that can be completely automated and does not require legal judgment is not actually legal work. It's administrative work. That's how you can tell the difference. So if you're going around billing your clients for this as if it's legal work, then chances are you're really overbilling under Model Rule 1.5. So I know a lot of lawyers like to say, well, we bill by the hour. Why should I actually be more efficient? This is just going to cut into how much money I can make. And the answer is you're not supposed to be billing for that. I would say that's unethical. Other insurance companies have picked up on that approach, like Lawyers Mutual. They've published articles about it too. So it's not crazy. We are going that direction. And in fact, a court in Canada in November 2018, or maybe it was November 2019. Anyway, in November, a court in Canada actually issued a fee opinion slashing the fee award from 60,000 to 20,000 for failure to use tools adequately that would have made the work more efficient. So this is coming, and we really do need to learn how to do it.
Excellent. That's good.
Thanks. So this one is a crazy fun one. And I learned how to do this from a book called The Wildcard Cookbook by Jack Lyon. And this one's great if you have really difficult spellings and people have, everybody in your firm has a different way that they misspell a client's name. When I was working in New York, we had a lot of names that had a ton of H's and A's in ways that we just could not ever remember. So you would end up with the name spelled 6 different ways in your in a brief or something, and that's a really quick way to upset a client. Anyhow, you can use wildcards to tell Microsoft Word to find any combination of letters between B and I that has generally these letters. And then you insert the properly spelled name and you can change all of those things at once. So I really like that.
That is good. And one of my standard difficult spellings, Rishwain, is always underlined in red because it doesn't exist. Right. And so that would be a great way. I could add that then to my custom dictionary, right? And then I don't get the red squiggly line on that.
So you could add Rishwain to your custom dictionary, then you don't get the red squiggly line. But if people are misspelling Rishwain in lots of different ways, then you would want to use wildcards to standardize those things and actually make them consistently spelled.
Excellent. Okay.
Cool.
We got about 8 minutes left for this segment.
Yay!
So what else have you got for us?
All right. So all of the things that I've just gone over are ways that you can hack Microsoft Word to work for you for free. But there are other low-cost tools that can make your life a lot easier, and I work on 2 of them. One is WordRake for wordiness. It will help you avoid legalese and help you write clear and concise language. It ripples through your document and marks it up just like it would with track changes, and you can choose to accept or reject anything that you like. The other one is Perfected, which is my baby for proofreading. I created American Legal Style, and it will help you with your consistency of capitalization, of spelling. So say you're working, you're doing intercontinental work, and some people spell favorite with OU and some with just the O. And it will make all of those spellings consistent. It will enforce spelling from Black's Law Dictionary. It will look for legal specific typos and transposed letters. And it will also help you with your Blue Book citation formatting. So that's pretty cool. And
those are both plugins or add-ins?
Yes, they are add-ins for Microsoft Word. They run on Windows and Mac, which is great because a lot of legal technology is still Windows specific, and that can create an issue if you're either working from home on a different type of computer, if you have a bring your own device policy, or if you if you just have mixed use at your firm. So you will want to specifically look for add-ins that work on both platforms. And these are 3 that do. One is actually Contract Companion by Litera, which I love. I don't know how we managed to get through contracts without it. And it's also available on Windows and Mac. Another Litera tool, if you are a regular brief writer, especially appellate briefs, is Best Authority. And that was just acquired by Litera a month ago or so, but it is best in class software for creating your table of authorities in a document. It will save you so much time. Most of the lawyers that I know can spend an entire day on that, and it brings you so close to the deadline for filing. And there's nothing like sweating it out, worried that you aren't going to finish your formatting before your reply or whatever needs to get filed to meet your statute of limitations or whatever court rules. So any way that you can save time and actually get there is going to be a major savings. So these are the 3 tools that I like most, and they're pretty easy to find. I write about these things regularly, and if you would like to hear more about them, you are welcome to contact me via email. I tweet about them as well. And I do have a new white paper coming out on technology competence. It should be out in the next month or so. And you can go to wordrake.com/technology_competence.
Excellent. And I will add that although we are here on Litera TV, we were not paid. Ivy and I have not been paid to provide. So that is your best in class solution from Litera, is based on your own experience and not a sponsored thing. This is, you agree and you use this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's great.
Yes.
So, and please put up your contact one more time for people so that they can grab that. And I will say that Ivy is available at Ivy B Gray on Twitter, and over on LinkedIn, also Ivy B Gray, and Gray is Grey. So if you're listening rather than watching this, I want you to know the spelling there. And so reach out to her, and then the email is ivg@wordrake.com. WORDRAKE.com. So check out those tools if you need them. We're getting a message. Message for the next panel, next set of panelists. Sorry for the confusion there. It looks like there's another Nick coming up, and I'm going to have to talk to Litera about that. There should be no more Nicks, which I, of course, am kidding. We look forward to the next segment as well. So Ivy Gray, any last minute, we got about 3 minutes left, Ivy. Reach out to her, but any last minute one-offs that we haven't touched on yet?
Sure. I will actually just go back to my hobby horse, which is ethics. And I like to point out that all of the ethics rules work together. Yes, 42 states now have adopted the revised Model Rule 1.1, but you're not just looking at that. You need to care about fair billing and making sure that you're not churning under Model Rule 1.5. You need to protect client confidences under Model Rule 1.6. And then you also need to make sure that you are supervising the people who work for you, properly training the associates who work for you, and bringing your entire law firm into compliance. And that's under Model Rules 5.1 and 5.3. We're all in this together, and it requires a team effort to act ethically and avoid that temptation of ethical fading and overbilling. So that is really it for me. Anything else I should cover, Nick?
No, I think that, you know what we didn't talk about on the redaction, we've got 1 minute left here, which we may not, is where you change that in the Word document. Did we?
We did not go through that, but you're really going to need another tool to do redaction properly. And that is through Adobe PDF.
Okay, excellent. So if you need extra information on that, again, Ivy and I are available on Twitter. Maybe you want to get a copy of this post. You can put that in a document cloud or G Cloud or something for people to read on Twitter. Ivy.
Yes.
All right, excellent. So that's
no
it.
problem.
at Ivy B. Gray
Okay.
on Twitter and LinkedIn, and you can find me at Nick Rishwain, Nick J. Rishwain on Twitter, also at experts.com VP, and you can get me at nick@experts.com. And we look forward to seeing you, and thank you, Litera TV. That's our segment.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Ivy.
Bye.